My name is Sandra Ellis Arrowood, and I was born August 10th, 1940 in Paynesville, West Virginia.
Tell us about your childhood home.
Well, it was a poor home because I didn't have a father, and he had got killed in the mines, and my mom raised all of us children and by herself. So we lived in the coal fields for quite a few years, and I don't have any bad memories of being not having a father, really. Remember playing in the soot from the coal fields, going barefooted in it, and I had a good childhood. We just were poor.
So, what did you enjoy doing as a child?
Gee, I don't know. uh, Quite a few things. Playing out in the creek and going swimming in the creek, and your mama didn't know it. Uh, Climbing up in the hills and building playhouses and things like that. Riding bicycles. And we also roller skated. In the coal fields, you lived in a company homes with a sidewalk was down the middle of the row of houses, and it was as wide as this room, and we could ride bikes on it or roller skate. So that was pretty much it.
What's your earliest memory?
What was my
Earliest memory.
I can remember several things. I can remember one time when I was about 5, Mom took me to the barber shop and got my hair cut off like a boy's because it was so thin. She thought it would come in thick. And then I remember walking down the road from my aunt's house, and this guy went by and hollered and said, "Hello there, little fella." I never forgot that. And that's one of my earlier memories. I have a few, but that one stands out in my mind.
How about another one? How about another one?
Um, well, I remember going to the porch and cutting my hair off, cut me some bangs, and stuff little girls do.
Tell me about your parents.
Well, I didn't know much about my father because I was so young, but my mother was hardworking and taught us how to work and how to clean and take care of ourselves. And she wasn't a doting mother on us children because she had so many. But as I was the baby of the family, I got a little more attention than the rest of them, and she would love on me. And I remember one of my sisters saying, "Well, you never did love on me like that." And Mom said, "You never did love on me either." That was my sister Ruth. But I was the only one left at home at that time.
Did she work?
Oh yes, she had to work. She got where he got killed in the mine. She got a check, but it wasn't enough to take care of all of us. So she worked in restaurants and did housekeeping for people to make ends meet. And she worked hard. I could never remember going home. I'd get off the school bus and Mom would have supper on the table. And we always had plenty to eat. We might have had to carry water from a spring, but we had plenty to eat. But she would go to work that evening, and the older ones would look after the little ones till she got back in, and then she'd start washing clothes and doing everything. She had a hard life, but she never complained. Never complained. Can't ever remember her complaining about anything. She was a good mother.
What's your favorite memory of her? What's your favorite memory of her?
Oh, I don't know. before she died, she was 71, and I was 37. It was the year Scott graduated from high school. And that was the year that she and I started kind of budding together. She was always mom, and I was the child, but I'd go get her, and we'd go to town and go to Huntington and do some shopping and eat out, and she would laugh. I remember one time, one Sunday, Flem and I got her. She didn't have a car and lived alone, and you three boys were in the back seat, and we were going down Fifth Avenue, and we looked over, and all of us at the same time. The man in the lane beside of us, he had the biggest nose you ever saw. It was as red as could be. And me and the boys and Mom got tickled. We all got tickled. But we were ashamed of ourselves, too. But she would laugh. She was fun to be around. But Flem never did laugh. I've thought of that many a time, that poor man and us sitting over in the car laughing.
Tell us about your siblings.
Oh my goodness. I had several siblings, and of course the older ones was more like they got married and left home while I was still growing up. And I remember they would always come home on the weekends and bring the children and Mom's little grandchildren, and I would fix their hair and take care of them, like Bonnie and Rita and them. Trying to think.
Can you name them and tell one little thing about each of them?
Oh, I don't know about that. I can remember a lot, but I remember us girls, as we got older, we could get together and laugh and carry on, have fun, before the last 20 years of their lives before they passed on. But see, I'm the only one left, so no brothers left, no sisters, only one left.
How did they treat you since you were the baby?
Oh, they didn't treat me good when I was little. They said I was spoiled, and so I can remember one time, well, my oldest sister told this, I don't remember it, but I vaguely remember it. But they were all home one Sunday, and I wanted a pair of new tennis shoes. And of course, Mom didn't have the money. She said, "Now I can't buy those, Sandy, for you." Well, I went had like a little smokehouse, and I went there and I cried and cried and cried. And I guess I threw a fit. And then when I went out, they'd all took up a collection to buy me those tennis shoes. It wasn't a nice thing. But they all said I was spoiled, and I don't know, wasn't a likable child. To them, I wasn't. Because when they got older, I found out. They said, "Sandy, you turned out all right."
Tell us about your grandparents. What do you remember?
I don't remember a whole lot about my grandmother on my mother's side. I remember she was sickly and came and stayed with us a while, and then my mom's sister that didn't have children took her to St. Louis and kept her till she died. But I don't remember much about her. I remember she was bossy and strong. We lived with her a little while after my dad got killed in the mines. She lived on a farm, and of course she bossed all of us children. And Mom finally moved and left because they were making work horses, she called it, out of her kids, and it wasn't going to happen. So she took us and went to town. And but Grandma Ellis, my dad's mother, I just vaguely remember her sitting in a chair. I was about 4 or 5 when she died, so I don't remember anything about her. And we didn't live close to her. We lived in West Virginia, over in Buchanan County, and they lived over in Wayne County. Logan County, that's where they were from. My dad's people were from up in Logan. And that's about it.
When did you move? When did you move from there to?
Wayne County. From the coal fields, McDowell County, to Wayne County when I was in the 5th grade. Mom wanted to get her boys out of the coal fields. She didn't want them going in those mines, and we had one of Dad's sisters lived over there, Aunt Bess Russell, and they talked her into coming to Wayne County. So we moved from the coal fields, like the city, and then go to the country over in Wayne County, and that's what we were doing there. So
did your friends ever get you in trouble when you were younger?
I'm afraid so. But
tell me about a time when your friends got you in trouble when you were younger.
Well, I can't pull anything up right now. I can think of things that I did with friends that we got ourselves in trouble. Tinny and I, we were always getting in trouble. We went back up to the Eastland School when there was no school, and 12 Pole Creek was right behind them, and we got in a wood crate and we was going to float down the river. Well, the thing sunk and we had to crawl out of that creek. And I remember us going down 12 Pole. We would, like back then, you could go get up in the morning and eat breakfast and leave, and she and I lived a couple of miles from each other. And I'd walk to her house or she'd walk to mine, and we'd just take walking down the road. So we started to Wayne, and there was a swimming hole, we called it, on the way to Wayne. So we went over there and would get on a log. Neither one of us could swim. Get on a log, float around. Couldn't swim at all, and it's way over our head. We just jump on that log and float down that river, and then we'd get off and go home. Our moms never knew that we were there or what we had done that day. They didn't even ask. They just knew we were okay. It's just the way you lived back then.
What were some of your chores? Did you get an allowance?
You got to be kidding. Allowance? No allowance. You didn't get allowances back in those days. You worked and you had jobs to do in the house. Every Saturday, Mom cleaned house. And where we were raised up in the coal fields, you couldn't just dust the furniture or just wax the furniture. You had to take all those knickknacks and put them like in soap and water, like you's washing dishes, and wash them. And you wash the tables to get the old wax off, and before I could put more on. That's the way we learned to clean house from our mother. She worked along with us, but that's the way we did. That's the way she taught us. I remember after I got married, and we lived in this complex, and the lady, I got to be good friends with her downstairs, and she said, "I never will forget, Sandy. One time you said, well, I've got to go upstairs and get to work." I think we'd set up all night, me and her playing cards together. Her husband was a fireman, and so he was gone, and she said, "You said I've got to go and wash those tables and wax them." And she said, "I never could get over that. Why would you wash those tables and then wax them?" But back then you did. In the coal fields, everything was dirty, coal dust. Everybody went out and scrubbed their porches every day because that old dust was on them. The people changed their beds every day because the coal dirt would be on you if you didn't take a bath, even if you did take a bath. And I remember we always had to wash our feet before we could get into bed. If we didn't take a bath, you had to wash your feet. And that's pretty much what I did.
Did you ever, what was your first job where you worked somewhere?
Where was my first job? I went to work after Flem and I got married. Neither one, he didn't have a, well, he was going to Marshall at that time, university. So we had to live. We didn't want to live with his mom or mine. So he quit his job, quit school, and went to work for Martha White there in Huntington. And I went and got a job in the 5 and 10 cent store downtown Huntington and worked there a while. But then after that, we decided we needed a better job, so we moved to Dayton, Ohio. And he went to work in a plant. And we stayed there a while. And then we got homesick, and so we just packed up, moved back to Huntington. Dad went to work for his aunt that owned a grocery store there on 14th Street in Huntington. And then he got a job at the gas company at Wayne, and that's how come us to move back to Wayne. And that's when, right after Scott was born, we moved back to Wayne. But he worked in her grocery store, and I didn't do anything. I got up and went to pool every day. I had to go to the pool and get my suntan.
What mischievous prank did you pull on somebody? And surely you pulled a mischievous prank on somebody.
Oh, I don't remember that. I don't remember doing anything like that. It would be worth telling. I mean, I just can't think of a prank.
Okay. So, you tell us how you came to the Lord?
Well, your dad did first, and he had been a Christian for a couple of years. And of course, the Lord dealt with me a long time. And I think Scott was probably 5, and Dana was about 4 or 3.5. And that's about the age they were when I gave my heart to the Lord, and I've been trying to serve Him ever since. It's been many years.
Paul wants to know, who was your greatest influence in your walk with God?
My sisters. My 2 sisters. My mother was a Christian, but my sisters was the one that could tell me what I needed to know and was always there for me to ask questions, you know, and they would call me and see if I was doing okay. But they definitely, Ellen and Chris, they were true sisters. And I miss them.
Elise wants to know, what were the colors in your wedding?
My goodness, Elise. I wore a blue sweater dress. I didn't have a gown. Just a blue sweater dress. And Dad had a suit on, and we just went to a preacher's house that was in Flem's church, and he married us, an old man, and old time preachers, and it was just over really quick.
Scott wants to know, how old were you when you began dating?
Scott knows that. He is so good about letting people know that. When I first met him, I was 14. That's all I'm going to tell you.
So, somebody says, what did your mom think of Flem when she first met him?
Oh, she loved Flem from day one, but she knew knew his family, and she liked his nature, and so a lot of people wondered why Mom let me get married that young. And Phyllis Ferguson, a lady we knew, asked her, "Lynn, why did you let her get married that young?" She said, "I knew he'd take care of her." And that was all she told her. Phyllis told me that after Mom died.
Rebecca wants to know, how did you know Papa was the right one?
You just know. I don't want to break a record here and tell something people don't know, but you just know. I just did.
Were there anybody else that was trying to get your attention before Papa came along?
Yeah. Who asked that question?
That was John.
John. Big John or Little John? Big John. My goodness. Yeah, there was a fella I liked, and he liked me, but he wasn't Flem. He wasn't Flem.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Now, there was somebody else named Flynn, wasn't there?
I went to school with a boy in grade school, and I liked him, and his name was Flem. How could that ever happen? I don't know. Nellie liked a boy named Flem on Bradshaw Mountain. That's Chris's, Phyllis's son. That's his dad's name, Flem.
Lily and Kirsten want to know, what was the funniest memory you have from when you were dating?
The funniest? Well, I don't know. We probably have several, but I remember double dating with a girl that I ran around with. And I got her a date with Flem's cousin from Ohio. And he wasn't the best looking thing. But everybody liked him, and so I fixed this girl up with him, and they took us to Camden Park in Huntington. And when this girl came in the door, when she saw William Allen, she said, "I can't believe you did this." So we went ahead and went to the Camden Park with them, and when these guys had went out, and played all these games and won all this junk, and they gave it to us, this girl lined it all up between her and William Allen, and it was so funny. She's sitting over here and he's sitting over there, and all that stuff between them. It was obvious she didn't want him near her, didn't like him. That was pretty funny at the time. For me, for her, she was mad.
Thad wants to know, was there ever a moment when you asked yourself, why did I marry this man?
Oh, yeah. I couldn't fib. I don't think there's anybody that couldn't say that. That was years ago when you're young and don't agree on everything. And that was one of the times I felt that way.
Brooklyn wants to know what your favorite color is.
Brooklyn? Oh, I've always been a blue person. Always liked blue. Our little Brookie asked that. Oh.
So what do you think you would have done with your life if you hadn't gotten married so early?
It's hard to tell what I would have done. Because I had no ambition. I had no desire to educate myself. I even quit high school when I got married. Said I did go back and get my high school diploma, but I never had any desire to go out and work. I just wanted to be took care of.
Callie wants to know, what did girls wear to school when you were little?
We wore little dresses. Mainly dresses until I got to be a teenager. In high school, we wore our brother's jeans. They didn't make girls' jeans back then. I would wear Paul's jeans in high school. There was a jean day that we could wear jeans. And I wore his jeans. But no, Mom made my skirts out of feed sacks and things like that. A lot of hand-me-downs I had from family. And even one year I got homecoming queen in grade school, and Mom didn't have the money to buy me a gown. So her sister, Aunt Nell, was a real good seamstress, and she had one daughter, and she'd made her all kinds of gowns, and Mom called her or something, and she sent me a white gown to wear. And I'm thinking it was gorgeous, but it was simple, and it was lace, and I would go to school, and those girls all had those frilly, like I wouldn't put on my kid that age. But they did back then, they overdid it. And I thought, gee, my dress was so simple and plain, but it was Eyelet. She was in college, and she made her dresses for the girl in college. And you could tell, and so all the teachers bragged on it. But I don't think anybody else ever did.
When you look back at your life, how do you want to be remembered?
All I've ever wanted was to be a good mother and to be a good Christian, do what God had for me to do. And that's what I think I was put here for, and to be a good mother. A mother to you boys. That's the way I want to be remembered. Not that I was a good one, but that's all I ever wanted to be, was a mother. And take care of you boys and your daddy.
So, do you have anything to say to Dad?
Repeat that.
If you wanted to tell Dad something right now, what would you tell him?
Well, I'd tell him what I always tell him. I love him, and I appreciate him for putting up with me all these years. He's been a good husband and a good father to you children. A very patient man. Very patient. But he has his ways, and I have mine. I won't go into that. He knows I love him. And he tells me that 10 times a day. The older he gets, the more he tells me.
How about a word for your grandkids and great-grandkids and great-great-grandkids?
Well, I would tell them the same thing I always wanted for their parents. I wanted them to live a good life, and I wanted them to put God first. And that's the most important thing. And I'm real proud of them already. No matter what they do, they're mine, they're ours, and we love them, and they're a real blessing to me and Flem.
That's all I got.
Anything particular you want to add?
Is there anything you want to add?
No, not really.
So let's say that 10 years from now and you've passed. Is there anything that you want to tell?
I just want to tell them all I'll be waiting on them when we all get over there together. And I know we will. I just want them all to be ready to go. The ones that aren't already. And to learn from their parents, because they've got good parents, all of them. I don't know what else I could tell them. I could tell them a lot, but that's the only thing I really want. And be close and stick close to each other. Always stick close to your family, because that's all you have in this world is family. It means anything.